we have never confronted a situation in which the government and the health authorities told workers, please don't work, and in which they told people who run enterprises, please close them and go home.
We are facing a very different crisis in the sense that this is a crisis that is affecting our social interactions in all the areas.
This is why this health shock has become an economic shock. First, this is a supply shock. There's less labor, and we also need to adjust production functions. But also, we are afraid to consume in certain places, in particular when there is a lot of people. We're also afraid because many people have lost their job. So this has become a demand shock as well, and a financial shock because there is less revenue, delay in revenue, in many cases, no revenue with the implications for the health of the financial system.
Some countries were lucky to have some savings to pay for these additional deficits. That Peru, Chile, to some extent Colombia, with the savings from the oil royalties of the past. But we're running out of those savings.
The capital outflows from the region as of today is larger than the one we saw in the subprime crisis.
We know that also there has been a very steep and fast collapse in capital flows, FDI, portfolio equity, and also in remittances, which again disproportionately affect some of the countries in Central America and the Caribbean.
Well, this is huge. This is a very large, very substantial crisis.
Latin America will be one of the most impacted regions in the world.
I am afraid that 6 months from now, we will be looking at a situation across the developing world and across emerging markets of massive job losses, of sharply contracting economic activity, potentially magnified by the kind of financial second and third round effects that we have seen so many times in Latin America.
This is just a reminder of the different letters that have been used to describe recessions, V, U, W, L. Some people also have mentioned it could be like Nike.
What will be the main reason for not having the V? Will it be that the rich economies will not recover? Will it be that we will lose entrepreneurial capacity? Will it be that we don't have the means for demand policy, demand support because of fiscal constraints when demand will be collapsing? Because that will be very important to determine how we use our scarce resources in the meantime.
So your deeper question is why this is not a V. It is not a V because the virus is still among us. And independently of the demand and financial issues, at the very least, production has to run, if you want to think about it, 1/3 because of the fiscal distancing.
We all understand that without a vaccine, the epidemic will be with us for a long time. But it has been true for all epidemics except for smallpox, that it was a social ending that happened before an epidemiological ending happened.
Yes, it is true that the virus is keeping the economy slow or paralyzed today. The question in my mind is, once the virus begins to recede, either because containment is so effective or because the vaccine has been found, will the economy be in any shape to spring back, or will it be inert?
Of course, we have uncertainties about the numbers and the projections. The impact will be huge in the three main important dimensions. Of course, in economic terms, the impacts are there and will be very important, but also the crisis will have a significant social impact. And I do think that we will face significant political effects.
The longer it takes to be in that gray area, the more pressures the governments will have, because the governments will have, to support people in very difficult circumstances, people that go to work, people that stay at home, businesses that are operating, businesses that are not operating. So it's going to be a lot of pressure. So here the big question, if I were to nail down this to a specific question, is what's the limit?